Now on CoastTV News.
Remembering Pope Francis. Tributes pour in for the long-serving leader and what's next in the Vatican. Work zone safety. DelDOT honors workers who've been injured or killed on the job as a reminder of the dangers they face daily. And hate crime out. Millville fire leaders speak out as 2 former members face charges.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
With Pope Francis's historic reign coming to an end, the world now turns its attention to the next leader of the Catholic Church. Good evening. I'm Christina DeRobertis. Welcome to CoastTV News at 11. We begin tonight with a closer look at what the Vatican's next chapter might hold. Now that Pope Francis has died, the wheels are in motion to elect a replacement. But what does that process look like, and who might be under consideration? Chris Glorioso offers a look at the process and possible successors.
The last time a pope was elected, it took just 2 days. After only 5 rounds of burning ballots in 2013, the Vatican Square crowds saw white smoke. Cardinal Jorge Bergoglio of Argentina emerged leader of the world's 1.3 billion Roman Catholics. This time around, the makeup of the conclave will be much different. In his 12 years as pontiff, Francis installed dozens of new cardinals. Now, most of the men electing the next pope will be from Latin America, Asia, Africa, and Oceania.
Cardinal X will say to Cardinal Y, I've been talking about this to Cardinal Z. Let's go have a pizza.
It is exceedingly hard to predict how more than 130 cardinal electors might coalesce around a single future leader. But as always, some names have emerged as short-list frontrunners, and they do include Europeans, like Cardinal Peter Erdo, Archbishop of Budapest. He is clearly popular among Europeans, having been twice elected to lead the Church's European conferences. Then there is Cardinal Reinhard Marx. He was a close advisor to Pope Francis, tackling church finances in times of cutbacks. However, Marx may not be popular with more traditionalist cardinals who might consider him too liberal on issues like celibacy, homosexuality, and women's role in the church.
Do they want someone like Pope Francis who's going to continue to push on those issues, or are they going to want somebody who kind of goes back to a more traditional fortress-style institutional Catholicism?
Pope Francis was a Jesuit. He was someone thought of as more accepting of liberal ideas. Do you believe that makes it more likely the next pope will be more accepting of liberal ideas?
On the one hand, yes. He's appointed the lion's share of the cardinals who will choose his successor. That would indicate that they may be looking for Francis too. On the other hand, he's chosen men from around the world in the periphery, in the hinterland. They tend not to be agents of change. They tend to be men of orthodoxy. So this could be a bit of a surprise.
It would indeed be a surprise if there were a U.S.-born pope, but some say Cardinal Robert Prevost has a reasonable chance. He was born in Chicago, served as an archbishop in Peru, and more recently vetted nominations for bishops around the world. But importantly, he is relatively young, just 69 years old.
Very few cardinals want another papacy that lasts another 30 years.
And here at home, Francis is being remembered as a pope who made history by being the first pope from Latin America, but also for keeping in mind those who needed help the most.
Pope Francis will be known and remembered for urging the church to go out among the peripheries, to go out and seek those who are suffering, those who are ill, those who are poor, not be closed up in our churches, but to go out among the sheep.
And the Catholic Diocese of Wilmington, which does cover all of Delmarva, says some of their churches will be planning special prayer services, rosaries, and masses for Pope Francis. And this does bring us to our CoastTV poll tonight. We want to know what you think the next pope should focus on. Let's take a look at the updated results. Looks like so far most people, 72%, saying modern issues, 14% say tradition, a few say church unity or youth outreach. We still want to know what you think, though, and it's definitely not too late to vote. Just head over to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. Well, new at 11, Delaware Governor Matt Meyer announced his nomination of Joshua Sanderlin to serve as Delaware's new marijuana commissioner. This comes after the former commissioner stepped down in January. Sanderlin's nomination, it will require confirmation by the Delaware State Senate. And we are taking a live look outside into the Ocean City area right now. Our first alert meteorologist, Chris Mastrobono, is about to join us with a first check on our weather. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening, Christina. You know, it wasn't too bad out there today despite the cloud cover. Much cooler than where we were over Easter weekend. You saw highs today at 68 in Georgetown, 71 Salisbury. We're in the lower 70s across the eastern shore, high at 60 in Ocean City. Pretty impressive with the cloud cover in play. Now, we are pretty pleasant out there at the moment, 58 degrees in Ocean City. You can see temperatures away from the coast holding in the lower 60s. It's going to be a rather mild night as this warm front pushes through. You can see a few sprinkles and showers to our north. This cold front is going to be pushing in tomorrow, bringing a chance of a few light showers in the morning. But by the afternoon, it's going to be a pretty nice day with temperatures pushing near 80 degrees, and by midweek we're talking plenty of sunshine, highs in the lower to mid 70s. So tomorrow we start off with a few light showers, a bit on the damp side, but a mix of sun and clouds through the afternoon with highs approaching the 80-degree mark. We'll talk about some unsettled weather down the road in that full 7-day forecast here in just a few moments. Christina?
All right, thank you, Chris. Well, here you're looking at some helmets at the Millville Volunteer Fire Company. Leadership at the fire department say they wear their gear with pride, knowing they're serving everyone, no matter their background. Now, this comes after 2 ex-volunteer firefighters were arrested and had their memberships permanently revoked after detectives say they were seen on video chasing a paid employee with a noose and calling him racial slurs. As CoastTV reporter Zakia Jennings tells us, fire company leaders say they're now evaluating their policies to make it easier and more comfortable for career staff or volunteers to report a situation if they have to.
The Millville Volunteer Fire Company, it's where Jay Droney and Jordan Hastings used to volunteer until their membership was recently revoked after being charged with a hate crime. CoastTV went to the fire department and spoke with Fire Chief Douglas Scott to learn more about who these people are.
We really don't know, and we really don't monitor that. That's their personal time, their personal behavior. But they were capable firefighters, and we utilize them in that capacity.
Once the victim made leadership aware of the hate crime that detectives say took place in February of 2024, Greg Hawker, president of the fire department, says they handled it quickly.
2.5 hours being notified, both members were suspended immediately. Delaware State Police had already been contacted, and the Fire Commission had already been contacted. And then we called a special board meeting for the following evening and revoked their whole entire membership forever.
Though both men joined as junior members, Hawker says he did not hesitate to call the police.
We're not going to tolerate it at all. And I don't care if it's the youngest member here or the oldest member here or the best firefighter here or whoever. We will not tolerate it.
Many people asked why the fire department is just now learning about the situation and if they have security cameras. Chief Scott says there are cameras, but they are not monitored 24/7. Someone would have to bring a situation directly to leadership for them to pull back the cameras. We asked the department if people can trust them moving forward.
The men and women that volunteer here and work here, by and large, obviously we've got 2 bad apples here, but by and large have behaved nothing but honorably and respectfully and are here because they have an absolute desire to help the community, and the community is everybody.
The fire department says they have an open door policy and encourages the public to speak to them if they have questions. In Millville, Zakia Jennings, Coast TV News.
And now, according to court documents exclusively obtained by CoastTV, Jay Droney approached the victim and was swinging a rope tied as a noose while the victim was grilling and said, quote, "Come here, boy," and was laughing while the victim ran away. Detectives say Jordan Hastings filmed it. Also, according to court documents, after that, the victim says Droney has called him a racial slur multiple times and would talk about cotton fields in front of him. We do have much more on this story, including the timeline of events. You can find that right now on CoastTV.com. Now to Ocean City. Ocean City voters might have a say in short-term rental restrictions. For the past 40 days, a group of neighbors was collecting signatures for a petition looking to appeal short-term rental restrictions that the town established back in March. And this morning, that petition was submitted to City Hall with 1,327 signatures. Only 991 people needed to sign the petition for it to be valid.
The people are overwhelmingly against these restrictive ordinances that the town has put on the people, and they see it for exactly what it is.
Now, the signatures do need to be verified by Ocean City's Board of Elections. If at least 991 are above board, this issue will be sent to referendum, and Ocean City voters can decide if they agree with the town's short-term rental restrictions. Well, National Work Zone Safety Awareness Week began today, and DelDOT marked the occasion by honoring those on the front lines. DelDOT held a ceremony to remember workers who were injured or killed while keeping Delaware's roads safe. In the last 3 years, 65 DelDOT employees were hurt in work zone crashes. 13 of those injuries were serious. Officials say it's a reminder that these workers put their lives on the line every day.
The national slogan is respect the zone so we all get home. And at the end of the day, I just want everybody to get home to their families. And so again, I hope that folks will slow down and pay attention while driving through work zones.
And DelDOT says it will continue doing everything possible to keep road workers safe until injuries reach zero. But officials say they need the help of drivers and to make that goal a reality here in Delaware. Now, speaking of road work, there are a few traffic-related stories that you should be aware of. Georgetown drivers should know that, according to the city, paving crews will be doing road work on Sussex Central Drive from West Market Street to Primary Avenue. That started today. Now, in Milton, if you've driven down Route 1 or Route 16, you know it's busy, lots of traffic, and the intersection of the two is dangerous. DelDOT says that's where they've seen the most crashes along all of Route 1 in Sussex County since 2012. Now, to prevent more crashes and collisions, Phase 4 of the Milton Overpass project begins tomorrow. It will start to reroute cars and trucks heading toward the beaches across the new overpass as the construction in the surrounding area continues. Some neighbors tell CoastTV they're optimistic about these changes.
Once the summer comes, I imagine it's going to be quite busy. So this is going to relieve some of the traffic around here.
And DelDOT says to expect delays on Tuesday as work takes place to shift traffic. Also, you should be prepared for nighttime lane closures and new traffic patterns on Route 24 starting this week. According to DelDOT, work on the Route 24 intersection improvement project is in its final phase. Crews will be working overnight from 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. That's on Route 24, Angola Road and Robinsonville Road until May 19th. Some people living nearby say they're glad the work is happening at night.
Traffic is getting more and more now since the summer rush of the beaches is going to build up, so I'm hoping it stays later so then it doesn't affect us during the day.
Again, DelDOT reminds drivers to go slow in work zones and expect some delays in that area of Route 24. And we are just getting started this evening. Still a lot more to tell you about. Coming up next, a Seaford store update. Plans moving forward for a new Aldi in the city. But first, a seal surge. The Mare Institute had their hands full this weekend. Find out how many animals they helped along the coast.
Well, after a damp start to our Tuesday, we're going to see temperatures rise to near 80 in Cambridge. Clouds hold on a bit in Crisfield, but we will see highs generally in the lower 70s as we go through Wednesday and Thursday. We'll talk about some unsettled weather by week's end. I'm coming back with your full 7-day forecast in just 60 seconds. Now, it's been a rather nice and pleasant evening across the peninsula, despite temperatures being on the cooler side today. We didn't see the 80s like we saw during the Easter weekend. 62 currently in Salisbury. Winds are out of the southeast at about 7 miles an hour. Temperatures elsewhere, we're at 58 in Ocean City, 60 Bethany Beach, 62 in Georgetown, and we're at 65 in Cambridge. Well, we hit a high of 68 in Georgetown after a morning low of 48. The average 68 and the record 90 degrees set back in 1957. Well, Easter's behind us. We're looking ahead. Cinco de Mayo, 14 days away. Mother's Day, 20. That all-important Memorial Day, 35 days away, and then Father's Day, 55 days away as we march along here in the spring season and push towards summer. Well, we are going to be pushing towards 80 degrees tomorrow afternoon after a few showers and drizzle through the morning. It's going to be a rather damp start, but I'll tell you what, we're going to really settle into a few nice days here Monday and Wednesday and Thursday. Even Friday looks pretty nice, and then as we go into the weekend, bad timing, I know, but as we go into Saturday, we could be dealing with a round of rain. The pollen, it's been high. The tree pollen, oak, the birch, and the ash will continue to stay high, unfortunately, throughout the week. We need a good soaking rain to get that, suppress that pollen. Small craft advisory up through 2 a.m. That is for the bay side. Warm front lifting northward. We're going to see a few scattered showers break out as this cold front pushes to the east. Not expecting much in the way of rainfall out of the system. 60 overnight, a cloudy, mild night ahead. By tomorrow, we're at 79 in Milford, 80 in Georgetown, 75 in Rehoboth Beach, 77. Cambridge will see 79 in Denton, looking at a high of 79 in Salisbury, 78 in Pocomoke City. So there's the light showers rolling through about 6 a.m. tomorrow, waking up to some damp conditions as we get into Bethany Beach, Fenwick Island, Ocean City by around 9, and then we begin to clear out, mix of sun and clouds through the afternoon. Highs generally in the lower to mid 60s. Could see a few 50s there. Ocean City down through Fenwick Island, but I think inland areas, upper 70s to around that 80-degree mark. And then we see more of a east-northeasterly wind as we go into Wednesday. But Wednesday, beautiful, mostly sunny skies, highs reaching the 60s and 70s across much of Delmarva. So there's the winds out of the west tomorrow. As the front pushes through, we'll see more of an east-southeast, east-northeast wind. So we're dry through most of the week. Could see a late shower Friday. I think most of Friday is dry. Then as we get into Saturday, we see a front push through. Could bring around us some scattered showers and storms Saturday afternoon through Saturday night. And I think we do clear out by Sunday, so it doesn't look like a complete washout at this point. But as I mentioned, enjoy that weather midweek, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's mild into the start of the weekend, but rainy Saturday with a high of 77.
All right, thanks so much, Chris. I knew I wasn't being dramatic about my allergies. We'll take a look at these seals. The Mayor Institute had a busy holiday weekend responding to a record 5 seals along Delaware beaches, plus a dolphin. Mayor says most of the seals rested for a while on the beach before returning to the water, but one older gray seal named Leo, he passed away near the Indian River inlet. Well, a popular grocery chain looking to set up shop in Seaford. At Tuesday night's council meeting, a final public hearing will be held on an Aldi coming to town. The plan would have it located on Route 13 across from the Lowe's shopping center. After the public hearing, there's still approvals to get since it's on a state road, so there's no timeline just yet. Shoppers we spoke with are looking forward to possibly having more options in the nylon capital city.
Absolutely. It's a great place to live. It's a slower pace of life than where we're from, which was outside of D.C., and I enjoy that about it, but at the same time, we want to have the good shopping and see things progress.
And that public hearing will be held tomorrow night starting at 7 p.m. at the Seaford City Hall. Coming up next, the Supreme Court puts some deportations on hold. We'll be right back. Deportation of immigrants under the Alien Enemies Act. The ruling froze any action in the case involving a group of Venezuelan immigrants in Texas. They filed an emergency appeal claiming they were at risk of being removed from the country without sufficient notice to challenge their deportation. Now to the Pentagon, where we are learning that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shared sensitive military information in a second group chat. This one reportedly included his wife, as well as his brother and his personal lawyer, who both work for the Pentagon. And as NBC's Garrett Hake reports, the latest development is drawing criticism, even calls for Hegseth's removal.
This morning, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth under growing scrutiny, including calls for his resignation. NBC News has confirmed he shared sensitive military information last month in a second Signal group chat, which included his wife and his brother and personal lawyer, who both hold jobs in the Pentagon, according to two sources with knowledge of the matter. The New York Times, which first broke the story, reports Hegseth shared flight schedules for U.S. military jets targeting Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen. One source confirmed that to NBC News. Criticism coming swiftly from Democrats. Senator Chuck Schumer writing on X, quote, "We keep learning how Pete Hegseth put lives at risk," adding, "Pete Hegseth must be fired." Senator Tammy Duckworth, a combat veteran, also posting, quote, "Every day he stays in his job is another day our troops' lives are endangered by his singular stupidity. He must resign in disgrace." But the White House insisting there was no wrongdoing, writing in a statement, quote, "No classified information was shared." The Pentagon writing, quote, "Another day, another old story." In March, The Atlantic revealed a separate Signal group chat created by President Trump's national security advisor Mike Waltz accidentally included The Atlantic's editor Jeffrey Goldberg. Hegseth reportedly shared similar information in both group chats. Hegseth repeatedly downplaying that episode at the time.
Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that.
It comes amid a period of extraordinary turmoil in the upper ranks of the Pentagon, with Hegseth firing 3 top aides last week. In a joint statement on X, those senior officials writing they were, quote, "slandered by unnamed Pentagon officials who accused them of leaking information to the press." Another official who resigned last week, now former Pentagon Press Secretary John Alyatt, writing in Politico magazine Sunday, quote, "After a terrible month, the Pentagon focus is no longer on warfighting, but on endless drama," concluding, "It's hard to see Hegseth remaining in his position much longer."
Coming up next, new numbers show cancer death rates are going down, but not all the trends are positive.
Expect a few showers through the morning hours, mild start, and even better afternoon, 80 degrees with a mix of sun and clouds. Maybe hold off tea time through about noon, I'd say. We'll take a look at that 10-day forecast coming up.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
Well, according to a new report, cancer death rates in the U.S. are declining. The 2024 annual report to the nation on the status of cancer was published Monday. It showed a steady decline in overall cancer deaths from 2001 until 2022. The rate of diagnosis among men fell from 2001 through 2013 and then stabilized through 2021, but among women, the diagnosis rate increased slightly every year between 2003 and 2021. In similar health news, millions of Americans are turning to popular GLP-1 drugs to help them lose weight. And while many have found weight loss success while taking these medicines, the number on the scale, it may no longer be moving in a positive direction for some. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on what to do if you've plateaued in your weight loss journey.
The amount of weight one can lose with GLP-1 drugs varies from person to person. But what should you do if the weight stops coming off?
I think the key message from the doctors we talked to, now is not the time to come off the medication. This is sort of more of a maintenance phase rather than an indication that the medication is no longer working.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta says stopping the medication may lead to weight gain, and he says experts believe when you put weight back on after losing it, the weight becomes harder to get off the next time. That's why he says to avoid this back and forth type of weight loss.
If the medication has worked and you've lost a certain amount of weight, it's likely that it's continuing to work even if you're not continuing to lose weight. That is sort of the very nature of a plateau. This is sort of your end point, and at this point, it's really going to be about nutritional and lifestyle changes if you want to lose more weight.
The Mayo Clinic says that includes reassessing habits, making sure you haven't loosened rules around things like food portions and activity. Cut more calories as long as it doesn't put you below 1,200 calories a day. Step up your workouts, 150 minutes of moderate aerobic activity like walking or 75 minutes of vigorous aerobic activity like running a week is recommended. Finally, think about ways to get in more movement during the day. Even doing yard work can help burn more calories. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Coming up this Friday and Saturday, you can head on over to the Harrington Fairgrounds for the DSN Outdoors Expo. It's a free, family-friendly event on Friday the 25th from 3 p.m. until 8 p.m. and then on Saturday the 26th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Outdoors Expo is your one-stop shop for everything outdoor. Coming up next on Coast TV News at 11, supporting a good cause with pizza, a fundraising event in Lewis hosted by one of Coast TV's very own. Coast TV Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams hosted a fundraiser tonight at Nicola Pizza in Lewis, all to support his annual Walk for Prostate Cancer. The event featured a silent auction, a 50-50 raffle with all proceeds going toward the cause, and the Walk for Prostate Cancer is scheduled for September 13th.
Yeah, it's good to see Paul had a good turnout there at Nicola Pizza. Well, tonight, it seems like every time one of these meteor showers comes around, we're stuck in the clouds, right? Well, we have the Lyrian meteor shower. Could see about 10 to 30 meteors an hour. So you have to go out overnight through the pre-dawn hours. So you give it a shot, but I think we're going to be dealing with a lot of cloud cover out there. Earth Day tomorrow. Well, we have the showers early, 71 by around 10, 80 by around 2. So a nice afternoon shaping up across Delmarva after the damp start. Linda Ray, Georgetown, Delaware, you're the winner of our Paul Davis umbrella, and you get your forecast anytime by dialing our First Alert weather phone, sponsored by Brockstead, Mondalis, Federico. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, shaping up to be very nice days. Virtually highs in the low to mid 70s. We're tracking a shower and thunderstorm chance Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening. We drop things down into the 60s Sunday and Monday, and then we warm right back up into the 70s and 80s at the tail end of that forecast.
All right, looks good to me. Thank you, Chris, and thanks to you at home for joining us for Coast TV News at 11. For some more local news and local weather, you can always download our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is up next, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.